Hey YouTube, this is Jaden Storm coming at you from Teen Shadow Strike with the final video tonight. I had a few quick videos for you guys to view, and this is going to be a part 18 of Cards That Make My Dick Hurt, and the one that we're going to be talking about today also comes out in set 11. That is coming before set 10, and I'm still pissed about it. And the card I'm going to be talking about is from the Aquaforce clan. It's a grade 3 with 11k power, and its name is Blue Flight Transcore Dragon. It is the break ride for the Aquaforce clan, one of my favorite clans. Now, let's get into this thing's effect. Limit Break 4. When an Aquaforce rides this unit, it gets plus 10,000 power. That is a pretty standard ability for break rides. I think all break rides do that, actually. And when this unit attacks a Vanguard, your opponent may choose a card from their hand and discard it. If they don't, if they choose not to discard a card from their hand, then this is what happens. This unit gets +1 critical, and your opponent cannot call units to the Guardian Circle until the end of turn. Which means if they do not discard a card from their hand when you break ride over Blue Flight Transcore Dragon, who I will refer to a lot of the time as Anchorhead, if they do not drop a card from their hand when you break ride on top of this break ride, they can't guard for the rest of the turn. They literally have to take every single attack you throw at them. So they're going to discard. The point, well, you might be asking, well, that doesn't really seem like such a great break ride then. Well, you got to realize in late game, your resources are going to be limited. So if they don't discard, just getting your opponent to discard a card from their hand is still a plus for you. But keep in mind, say they only have... Because when you break ride, they're going to be at anywhere between 4 to 5 damage. So when you break ride, they're going to have to decide, okay, do I want to hope for a heal trigger and let his Vanguard attack me with +2 critical and hope he doesn't hit another critical and pretty much screw me over, or do I want to discard a card so I can at least attempt to block it? So this leads to, just your opponent second-guessing themselves, which half the time causes you to lose. If you second-guess yourself half the time, it will cause you to lose the game, you'll lose your focus, and then at the end of the game, you're mad at yourself because you just didn't go with your instinct. There's a lot of different decks that I'm going to be making with this card, because I'm going to need 3 sets of this thing, because there are 3 different decks out of the Aquaforce clan that I'll build. I'm going to have just a regular Maelstrom deck, because I think Maelstrom is by far one of the best cards ever created in the game, and I'm talking about I'm not talking about Glory Maelstrom, I'm talking about just Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom. I'm going to have a deck where it's going to have the Break Ride for Aquaforce and Glory Maelstrom. I think Glory Maelstrom will be a lot better once the Break Ride comes out. Mainly because of Glory Maelstrom's Limit Break. Your opponent can't perfect guard it. Now, that tells me when you break ride Glory Maelstrom over this, not only will Glory Maelstrom gain an additional plus 10k, they'll have to drop 1 card from their hand so they can guard against it. But that also means they can't perfect guard it after you counterblast 1, since you will be at 4 or 5 damage when you break ride, and that'll make it even harder on them. So Glory Maelstrom and this card will go really well together. I actually think Glory Maelstrom will actually be a lot more relevant when this card comes out, which comes out in set 11 for, like I said, American players, so you might actually see quite a few decks like that. I know I'm building it, and then I'm also going to be building, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's the ride chain for Aquaforce. I think it's Genevius ride chain or something like that. And then Blue Flight Transcore Dragon's, his second ability is whenever he attacks a Vanguard, he gains plus 2k. But his break ride simply to force your opponent to decide, do I want to discard a card? And, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go ahead and discard. Every now and again, you might get someone that says, you know what, I'm going to have to take a shot here in the dark. But they're going to want to discard it, because if they don't, then that means they're going to have to take your Vanguard's attack and both your front rear guard's attacks. And since it's Aquaforce, you're going to be playing stand triggers, so chances are you're going to get a 4th attack. So this break ride fits into Aquaforce very well. People think, I think people, when they very first read this card, there were some people that wanted to turn their nose up at it. It's like, it's not as good as Dauntless, it's not as good as Ganslot, it's not as good as, Vowing Sword Dragon, or it's not as, but this card really is pretty good. He also combos really well with another card you will see on this in the Aquaforce clan. Well, if you've watched the anime, I said Maelstrom, I said Glory Maelstrom, and I said the Genevious Ride Chain. So if you've been watching any of Season 3, you should know the card that I'm talking about. Because he'll be on this segment for sure. But anyway, this is the Break Red for Aquaforce, Blue Flight Transcore Dragon. And I'll probably rarely call him that, because ever since I saw him, I've always called him Anchorhead. So when I do my deck profile with this card, don't, be shocked that I said Anchorhead. Just because I think that's a fitting name for him. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.